Welcome to 𝗱vie in Motion. My name is Diane, and I am the virtual nurse who will guide you through this session. Lots of people are helping a loved one. They say that it goes without saying. That is natural. This is not always the case, because it sometimes requires a lot of skill, new knowledge, and support. This help may be intended for someone close to you, young or old, who has a chronic illness and who needs your assistance. This person can live alone or with you. You are his or her spouse, child, parent, brother or sister, or you have another significant relationship with this person. In 2020, the government of Quebec introduced a national policy called Bill 56, which aims to recognize and support care partners with respect to their wishes and capacities for commitment. To follow up on this bill, the government of Quebec has developed an initial 5-year action plan to support care partners. Here are 6 guiding principles of this bill that may be of interest to you. 1. Recognize that each care partner is a person in their own right who must be treated with dignity and concern, and whose well-treatment must be encouraged. 2. Recognize the significant contribution of care partners and the importance of providing them support. 3. Support the health and well-being of family care partners, particularly in financial terms, as well as maintain their life balance. 4. Consider the multiple diversities and realities of care partners and their relationship with the people they care for. This aims to meet their specific needs through all stages of their trajectory support, that is, from the start of their caregiving role to the grieving process of both care partners and care recipients. 5. Recognize the experience and knowledge of care partners, as well as those of the care recipient, and consider them as part of an approach based on partnership. 6. Respect the wishes and the capacity of care partners as to the nature and the extent of their commitment. In summary, this Bill 56 specifies the importance of recognizing family care partners. It offers an inclusive definition that encompasses the different realities. Let's take a closer look at these various elements. A care partner is defined as anyone who provides support to one or more members of their entourage. The care receiver may have a temporary or permanent disability of a physical, psychological, or other nature. Support can be ongoing or occasional, short or long-term. It is offered on a non-professional basis in a free, informed, and revocable manner. Its purpose is specifically to promote the maintenance and improvement of the quality of life of the person receiving care at home or in other living environments. In short, the care partner looks after the well-being of a person who needs support. His commitment varies over time and is expressed through multiple experiences. In Quebec, 20% of the population aged 15 and over is a care partner. And the largest proportion of care partners is found among those aged 45 to 64. These people often help and care for 2 or more recipients. Women make up the majority of family care partners, nearly 60%. Regarding Parkinson's disease, care partners are mostly spouses, often over the age of 65, followed by their children or other family members and friends who in turn take over to offer their support. In Quebec, a number of activities are carried out by care partners. Among other things, transportation, housework, and outdoor maintenance work. These are listed as the most common types of support offered by care partners. Other activities are also carried out, such as personal care, treatment and medical care, organization of health care, banking, legal and judicial proceeding, as well as psychological and social support. Moreover, in terms of time allocated per week, nearly half of care partners devote from 1 to 3 hours to supporting the person being cared for, while approximately 20% allocate more than 20 hours. Hence, the importance of developing healthy lifestyle habits to preserve your health and well-being. The majority of care partners manage to assume their role of assistance and support, but a large percentage nevertheless considers it to be stressful. More than half of care partners report a decrease in time devoted to relaxation, meaningful activities, and social life. Being a care partner can also have some repercussions. These include the impact on their physical and mental health and their participation in the labor force, pressures on their personal finance, and little time for their own family responsibilities, as well as reduced time available for other activities. About a quarter of care partners out to manage their own emotions and those of the person being cared for, as well as those of other family members, which may even need to consider help to resolve conflicts. Nevertheless, it is important to point out that approximately 80% of care partners find satisfaction in fulfilling this role. In 2018, a collective group of care partners called Regroupement des aidants naturels de la Mauricie in Quebec has brought to light a Charter of Rights entitled Declaration of Care Partners' Rights, in order to be recognized and respected in this role. Here are a few examples reported by Mr. Samuel and Mr. David.
As a care partner, I have a duty to take care of myself and to pursue meaningful activities that make me feel good. I can also be proud of what I do for my father, even if it's not perfect and I don't know how to do everything.
It's normal to feel torn between my emotions, my conflicting thoughts, and my reactions in my role as a care partner. I think I also have an obligation to know and respect my limits and ask for help, not to exceed them.
After the announcement of the diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, the role of care partner begins. Over the years, you will have to choose strategies that are adapted to your situation as a dyad. I invite you to reflect on how you would like to be able to provide significant assistance to your family member. You have been asked to recognize yourself as a care partner and to make yourself known as such in order to be able to obtain support more easily. This support from professionals and those around you can contribute to your health and well-being. Now, let's look at some of the things to think about that could help you choose strategies that are right for you in your role as a care partner. Spontaneously, some care partners seek out for all the information available, while others will look for it in stages. Each person reacts in their own way following the diagnosis and then throughout the course of Parkinson's disease. It's possible to obtain information from healthcare professionals, brochures, and also through research on the internet through reliable websites. For instance, information about certain strategies to adapt to the role of care partner, such as the stages of problem solving, modifying one's perception of what cannot be changed, awareness of the importance of taking care of oneself, can also turn out to be very relevant. Moreover, it is possible to obtain information on certain psychological and social support programs adapted to your reality through your community local services center and 𝗱cie, a help desk support for care partners in your area. There are also online informative video clips, expert advices, and inspiring testimonials that can be very useful via the websites of Parkinson Quebec, as well as their regional offices and organizations. At your own pace, you will be better informed about the disease and the resources available near you and, consequently, to enhance communication with significant others. This will also help you balance your energy intake to take care of yourself. Let's hear how Mrs. Danielle and Mr. David help each other.
I'm the type of person who wants to know everything and who will seek all the information possible. But as you say so well, too much is like not enough.
Above all, we mustn't become anxious with all this information. I agree that it's not easy to get the right amount from it.
No, it's good that we're able to talk more and more about it. From the time of the initial diagnosis of Parkinson's, it's been difficult to deal with it. Along the way, if we find good resources, we're also going to try to make some friends.
Some researchers in neurology, nursing, psychology, and social work have looked into the unmet needs of people living with Parkinson's. It seems that motor symptoms such as tremor, rigidity, and slowness of movement would have less impact than non-motor symptoms. Therefore, loss of smell and taste, changes in concentration and memory, insomnia, impaired urinary and bowel function, as well as the possibility of falling should be taken into account. Besides, people living with Parkinson's point out that they need, among other things, to feel safe, to take their medication on time, to be able to enjoy their daily activities, and to socialize. According to the care partners, given their frequent and even daily presence with their loved ones, the main needs highlighted by them concern the management of their stress, access to respite, financial security, and planning for the future. Let's listen to a short exchange between Mrs. Catherine and her daughter, Clara.
It's so nice of you to offer me help with groceries and to run some errands. I've got to tell you, it would clear my mind not to be outside wondering if your father is safe at home while I'm gone shopping.
Are you that worried about leaving Dad home alone?
Yes, I'm getting more and more concerned.
If you want, once in a while, I could come over to the house and spend an hour or two with Dad so you can get out of the house with peace of mind.
Your offer is very generous, but you also have your own obligations. Let me think about it and talk to your dad.
Thus, the need for respite care is often felt by care partners. The vigilance to ensure the safety of their loved ones, the fact of being afraid of not being there to prevent falls or to help with mobilization, that often trigger mental stress. Care partners believe that this hypervigilance requires moments of letting go. This includes the need for respite care support for their care recipients, which is a necessary tool for care partners to be able to restore their energy and often to catch up for lost sleep. Now, let's take a look at how the following couple goes about trying to meet their need for financial security.
The occupational therapist from the Community Local Services Center came to our house, and on his recommendations, we made some home adjustments. The suggestions were very good, very appropriate to our situation, and thankfully inexpensive.
This time it wasn't too expensive, but we will have other needs, and we don't have an endless supply of money.
Nobody has endless reserves. We could ask the Community Local Services Center to help us assess our needs and then get in touch with our accountant. This would allow us to have a better idea of our financial possibilities.
Concerning the monetary aspect, concerns are very real to obtain some public or private services. For example, physiotherapy, speech therapy, a care attendant in the absence of a care partner, etc. To promote adequate financial security for everyone and better sleep for the care partner and the person being cared for, adjustments to the home can also be very useful. Some services are free and others are not. The financial aspect is also to be considered if another type of housing proves favorable or necessary or more adapted to the needs of the care receiver and the care partner. Regarding the planning for the future, let's hear how the couple tries to negotiate this need.
If I'm taking the time to fill out my symptom diary to provide information about my health, I'm hoping and expecting the team to give me clear information about my condition as well.
In partnership with the team, we could then better anticipate needs as they arise and not be surprised.
Reality is not always easy to take, but it would help us make our lifestyle choices and put our efforts in the same direction. It's already a chance we can provide mutual support to each other.
Care partners point out that those concerns about the future would be further reduced if communication with the medical team was more fluid, from the diagnosis and during follow-up visits. By being on the same page with the medical team in order to get help in the decisions to be made during the trajectory, could achieve an optimal quality of life. In light of the needs expressed by the dyads, it would be interesting to think about your priority needs that could benefit from support from health professionals, community organizations, or those around you. By having your more specific needs in mind, or even better writing them down, perhaps you will notice that certain reluctance prevent you from asking for help. Let's take the time to consider some of the reluctance often reported by care partners and care receivers.
Applying for help takes time. There are also forms to be filled in, and services may not come quickly. It's hard to find the right person who will come at the right time.
Ooh, to bring a stranger into our home who doesn't do as I do, as we do? It probably won't be the same person coming every time either. My spouse may not want to, and besides, some services may be subject to charges.
If I ask for help, what those around me will tell me? Something like, you are strong, you're capable.
In these examples reported by care partners, we find, among other things, questions concerning the monetary aspect. Some services are free and others are not. The quality and quantity of services requested and received, as well as the judgment from the people around you. Often, this reluctance can hide fears of the unknown, which is understandable. By naming them, you can replace those fears with more helpful thoughts and look together at the real benefits of asking for help. First of all, you are invited to name your needs for services and support, to express them clearly to the right place and to the right person with persistence. I agree. That is not easy to enter the system. But once the connection is made, the fear decreases and trust gradually takes hold. This can have several medium and long-term benefits and bring you satisfaction. Over time, are your caregiving responsibilities increasing? Do you feel more responsibility for the care to be given? Everyone has their unique needs and can feel physically and mentally drained. The experience of many couples shows that it is beneficial for everyone that the person living with Parkinson's understands the issues related to the needs of the care partner and vice versa. Care partners already involved in a caregiving journey have highlighted key elements to consider in your daily life. First, as a care partner, taking care of your overall health is an essential requirement for continuing to care for your loved one. Also, fluid communication, clear messages, and concrete gestures of support facilitate everyday life and decision-making as challenges arise. Some care partners also note that the notion of reciprocity takes on a different character as the disease progresses. We no longer necessarily aim for equality in exchanges, but rather the quality of positive support in the little things on both sides. If this mutuality is present, it seems to increase the quality of life for the care receiver and reduce the burden of responsibilities for the care partner. Let's see how Mrs. Ann and Mr. Alexander managed to provide support to each other.
I can see that you're doing everything you can and that you're worried about me.
Oh, when you say that to me, it makes me feel good. It gives me wings to carry on.
If you want to help me move the chair forward, I'll help you dry the dishes.
Yes, of course. I will help you to help me.
Another couple shares their view of what decreases and increases vulnerability to burnout. I invite you to listen to it.
I enjoyed the discussion with the other couples in the support group this afternoon. It makes me aware of not going to the end of my strength, of our strength, that is, as much as you and I.
I realize that we are on the right track. We're able to see more and more what the other one needs, and we try to find a solution together. In the end, I feel that we're stronger.
You've heard, like me, some couples had various other challenges than us. On top of their dealing with the disease, for some it's financial uncertainty, and for others it's avoiding family conflict.
It's not all that simple. It's good that the group meets regularly. That way we can support each other, help each other, and share our opinion on resources that we find relevant.
I'm really glad I went to the meeting. What about you?
Me too. It made me feel good. We'll continue to help each other and not to go beyond our limits.
By getting in touch with other people, this couple has learned to develop a realistic view of the situation and recognize when they have been successful. Also, ladies Betty and Bianca seem to have become more aware of what can increase or decrease each person's vulnerability in order to prevent burnout. However, it is important to be on the lookout for certain factors that can precipitate distress and exhaustion. This is observed, among other things, by a precarious state of health, great fatigue, negative attitudes toward the disease of the care recipient, recurrent marital and family conflicts, as well as isolation. I encourage you to pay attention to these red flags, to go beyond your reluctance, to know the resources available, and to create an open-minded communication to ask for assistance to avoid running out of steam. This is to be done preferably as early as possible in the trajectory because some procedures take time before obtaining the desired help. Accepting help also includes a good dose of patience, trying the services that seem appropriate for your situation, and also taking time to get used to them. I therefore suggest that you consult the resource guide, which brings several relevant topics. In prevention to avoid running out of steam, the notion of benevolence towards oneself and others is on the order of the day. As we cannot escape the difficulties of life, we have the possibility of making room for the positive, for non-judgment, and for taking the time to live in the present moment. The sense of gratitude can also do a lot of good. I have collected suggestions from care partners and their loved ones to help you in this regard. For example, to make their life easier, some people use a notepad called Head Notebook to clear their mind of all what they have been stressing about, or they write down on Post-it notes keywords or phrases that help keep their spirits up. Others record certain meaningful moments or make short videos on their cell phones. Others set up a ritual of contemplation, breathing, and exercises to celebrate their successes or their contact with nature. And others discover a passion like taking inspiring photos. And you, what are the things and actions that would be good for you to take care of yourself now? You are invited to choose one concrete action that you can integrate into your daily routine to prevent burnout. So far, we have taken a more focused look at the dyad that you form with your loved one by suggesting that you create the openness to ask for assistance and accept it. So, not to go beyond your limits. How to react when Parkinson's disease affects the very heart of the family. The role of each of the spouses and other family members is disrupted. A variety of more or less pleasant emotions can arise and disrupt some of your values. The care partner role is added, and this requires role adjustments, especially with the progression of the disease. Despite these changes, certain needs are still present, including the need to love and be loved, to fulfill oneself, and to socialize. Regardless of the relationship between the care receiver and the care partner, the responsibilities of the care partner accumulate on a personal, family, and social level. As a result, the balance between work and family can also become an issue to manage. As a dyad, living together or not, the notion of gaining or losing roles deserve a reflection on how to negotiate with the different tasks to be performed simultaneously to reduce the pressure on your shoulders and to have time to take care of you. With this realization, we can ask ourselves which tasks to keep, which ones to delegate, and to whom to entrust them. Let's listen to a follow-up telephone meeting with Mr. Stevens' son. You have already mentioned to me that you would like to provide help to your father who is living alone at home in order to meet his needs. Mr. Samuel, can you tell me what kind of help you have in mind?
Well, my dad wants to stay home for now, but he's less independent. I always had a good bond with my father because we worked together, and I'm now the director of the company.
Does your father currently receive services at home?
As I cannot always be with my father, I have arranged for him to receive a catering service for lunch and dinner. Also, someone comes once a week to clean up.
You are therefore reassured at this level. Is there anything in particular that worries you right now?
Yes, in terms of his clothes, his medication, and maybe some other things that I may not think of. I want him to feel safe at home, and so do I.
I understand your concerns, and they are valid. And your father, what does he want? I suggest that you first start by making an inventory of unmet needs with your father using a guide that could be useful to you. This guide, available online, will allow you to identify with him his needs, for instance, who could meet them, and how to proceed to request help from those around you or from nearby resources. A calendar of those individuals who are involved is also available as a fact sheet reminder for you and your father. The organization help desk named 𝗱cie for care partners in your region, the Community Local Services Center in your father's neighborhood, healthcare professionals and other services can also assist you to improve your quality of life and to help you in your efforts as a care partner to your father.
Thank you very much. I think we are there. It will help us to have a better picture of our situation and to continue our efforts.
As for Mr. Stevens' son, I invite you to consult the fact sheet about actions at the heart of families. With the progression of Parkinson's and with the frailty that sets in for the person living with the disease or the care partner, the choice of a new home or accommodation in their residence presents itself and proves to be a difficult decision. It is an overwhelming transitional step, often steeped in various emotions for the person living with Parkinson's and guilt for the care partner. This decision concerning this transition from home to a more adapted living environment or a long-term care accommodation is often taken for the benefit of safety, a better quality of life, and services adapted to the condition of the care receiver. It also allows the care partner to maintain a physical and mental balance to continue to be present, but in a different way. This passage marks a transition between what was known and the unknown. It might take time to adapt to it. Your role as a care partner changes and continues differently. Your reassuring presence facilitates the adaptation of your loved one in a new environment by sharing with the staff and the healthcare team in place their life and health history, their tastes, their habits, their character, and their significant family ties, so that, over time, a partnership between your dyad and the nursing team gradually develops to allow a more and more fluid communication for the quality of nursing care. Let's see how Mrs. Catherine is adapting to her changing role as care partner. I'm calling you today to know how you're doing regarding our last follow-up phone call.
For my part, I'm doing quite well, although lately I've been having a hard time. As you know, my spouse was transferred to a long-term care unit. It's been about a month now.
What is the most difficult right now for you and your spouse?
We had made some home adjustments to make our lives easier, but even with these modifications, I could no longer ensure the safety of my spouse. This wasn't an easy decision to make, but we had to resign ourselves to it. He is now in a long-term care home. He's adapting slowly. For my part, I'm getting some strength back, but I'm feeling less useful.
I agree that your role as a care partner to your spouse is different now. However, it is just as important. You have surely shared his lifestyle habits and his tastes with healthcare teams.
Oh, that, yes. It's precisely to ensure his comfort that we made this decision. I look into it personally, that's for sure.
I am glad to hear it. And with the health personnel, how are you?
So far, there have been good relations. Healthcare workers take the time to listen to us and deliver caring services to my spouse. I don't want to be in their way, but I also want to be present to accompany my spouse.
Have you shared your concern with healthcare teams?
Not yet. I don't really know how to bring that issue up because I want to stay on good terms with them.
How could you bring it up with them? I can confirm that many healthcare workers are asking themselves the same question, especially during the first months when you're getting to know each other.
Yeah, how can I be able to let them know? I could perhaps ask them, following the admission of care recipients on the unit, how do other family care partners continue being present for their loved ones while working in collaboration with you? I'd like to learn too. I've been feeling a bit lost lately.
What a great idea, Mrs. Catherine. That way, You express your need in a clear and constructive way. I trust you will find the right words because you are full of goodwill and ideas. If, however, you have other questions about this new living environment for your spouse and you, there is a users committee in each health establishment and with volunteers on the board who could be, perhaps, for you, precious assets of resources.
It's good to know. I thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
It was nice talking to you. Give my regards to your spouse and take care of yourself. Throughout the Parkinson disease trajectory, as a dyad, you go through a whole range of emotions, with ups and downs. Any changes between what were your reality before and what's now is considered a transition. This transition, although bearing losses, allows you to make discoveries, new learning experience that give you the resilience to continue to deal with the changes that have been taking place in spite of you since the diagnosis. By paying attention to these changes, you see that the losses you are living are part of the realization of a grieving process. For instance, the loss of perfect health, of couples planned after the departure of adult children, retirement plans, as is the case with the next couple. Let's listen to the conversation between Mrs. Betty and Mrs. Bianca about the grieving and the adaptation processes for both the person living with Parkinson and the care partner.
Well, we're both retired and had projects in mind, but other challenges were waiting for us.
All of a sudden, you start thinking about that?
I was thinking, I find it less easy to express myself, and it requires more patience. The disease has really changed our retirement plans.
Well, you and I are getting older. We're grieving, that's for sure. And it's hard. Yes, the disease has changed our travel plans. We're still moving around, but not as far. We may be more content with small pleasures like brunches with friends, short trips, listening to music that we love, or online shows. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think you've settled down pretty well.
I didn't settle down too much, I hope.
No, thankfully not all the time.
In their exchange, we feel that the spouses are trying to be resilient and to find meaning with regards to their life experience. Over time, Mrs. Bianca may also need to develop a tolerance for ambiguity if Mrs. Betty is more slurred or withdrawn. It should be noted that withdrawing into oneself does not mean a decline in affection or love on the part of the person living with Parkinson's. Besides, as the disease progresses, the onset of apathy, attention, or memory deficits may cause the person living with the disease to be physically present, but periodically or gradually absent psychologically. The care partner then enters into what is called an ambiguous loss, where the challenge is to modify the need for certainty in favor of tolerance with the unknown that persists over time. I offer you a few thoughts to help you develop resilience to better live with this type of grief called ambiguous loss. These hints and tips come from experienced care partners, clinical and research teams interested in this field of study. These people point out some key things to keep in mind. To acknowledge the existence of this grief can help you understand what is special about it and finding meaning in what you are going through. to pay attention to what is known and controllable, and practice letting go of what is no longer there. To feel different emotions like guilt and anger about the changes you are going through is normal. Expressing your feelings without destroying yourself or hurting others will contribute to your well-being. Some care partners channel their emotional overflow into activities like writing, singing, physical exercises. Choose what makes you feel good. To learn to develop flexibility in your way of thinking can also help you find meaning in this experience and instill hope for being able to live what you have to live. Other elements can also influence your capacity for resilience, such as your cultural affiliation, your spirituality, your affinities in family or friendly relationships, and finally, the rituals that you adapt or that you create. The accompaniment of the person living with Parkinson's disease can be easier for some, more laborious for others. The quality of the attachment with the loved one, as well as the interpersonal skills developed throughout their lives, can also influence the accompaniment. Everyone has the challenge of developing the how to be in this accompaniment. Joanne de Montigny, a psychologist specializing in grief and resilience, points out that the disease on the path is not a perfectly straight line. But if we aim for the comfort and quality of life of the care receiver and the care partner, which each one does at his best while respecting his limits, life sometimes reserves us beautiful surprises. I invite you to share a moment of resilience with Mrs. Catherine and Mr. Charles, although affected by the progression of Parkinson's. The couple chooses an activity that is good for both of them. Concrete actions are taken by Mrs. Catherine and a patient attendant. Family solidarity is maintained despite the limitations associated with Parkinson's.
Would you like to go for a walk outside this afternoon?
Yes, I'd like that.
If we use the wheelchair to go to the waterfront, would you like it?
Yes.
I'll make sure you're comfortable and we can stay as long as you want. Perhaps bring a snack.
That's a good idea.
I think I'd better talk to a patient attendant about it, so he can help me get you settled this afternoon.
It's going to be easier for you.
And I think our little outing is going to be nice for you and for me. Pleasant this afternoon getaway?
Really, thank you.
Maybe we should do it again when our daughter comes this week.
We will ask her.
We tried to take advantage of all the good moments of life.
In short, when faced with the ambiguous loss associated with Parkinson's, you are called upon to give new meaning to your experience with the disease, to understand where the unpleasant emotions come from, and to let go of events beyond your control. To do this, gratitude, indulgence, and benevolence towards each other and other individuals allow you to direct your thoughts and actions in a more constructive way. These assets bring you back to the essence of who you are as a person and as a dyad. They also help you focus on your often unsuspected strengths and the attachment that binds you together and to the people around you. Finally, resilience and the creation of new rituals help maintain hope in your abilities to deal with uncertainty and changes as they come your way. With Parkinson's, becoming and staying a care partner is learned over time. Each person develops skills from their experiences, either positive, difficult, or negative ones, and also from the contribution of attentive people throughout the journey. It starts by being recognized and respected as a care partner, by emphasizing your rights, your contribution to the well-being of your loved one, and the involvement of family and society. This continues by targeting your needs, talking to someone, a professional, a family member, a friend, or a peer. Seeking help, granting respite, making adjustments can preserve everyone's health and safety and prevent burnout. The experience of Parkinson's and the accompaniment throughout the trajectory of the disease is not easy. The changes, transitions, and related ambiguous loss cause you to redefine your life as you have known it so far, as well as redefining the bonds of attachment and the values you wish to favor. I encourage you to take care of yourself and to tap into the strategies offered. By giving yourself all the attention you need, you will be better able to continue to accompany your loved one. Caring for someone living with Parkinson's cannot be done without considering their abilities and resources of the care partner into the equation.